get dirty.
Ahoy there, mates!
Hello, everyone.
Happy Halloween! Welcome aboard the VHS Pirate Ship and welcome to our Halloween special.
Oh boy, spooky season is such a special time of year. I'm so excited.
Yeah, well, there's plenty to be excited about.
Yes, I always go out of my gourd.
Yeah, I remember last year you got so excited you decided to do your own rendition of Anything Can Happen on Halloween.
Oh yes, the song famously performed by Tim Curry in The Worst Witch. Remember it as though it were yesterday. I wouldn't change places with anyone tonight. We'll carve pumpkin faces and watch the demons flight. Every human heart will shudder. Every soul will shake with fear. Tonight, the creepiest. Tonight, the scariest. Tonight, the most wonderful night of the year. Anything could happen on Halloween. Your dog could turn into a cat. There may be a toad in your bass guitar, or your sister could turn into a bat. Christmas time brings the snow. Summertime brings the sun. But on Halloween, your blood begins to run. Something spooky's going down. Anything can happen on Halloween. It's better than a video. Rimmond's gonna mess up every cassette from London to Idaho. April 1st can be fun. New Year's Eve is a bore. But on Halloween, your flesh begins to crawl. Oh, I'm losing control.
Great song. Goofy, but great.
Oh yes, goofy indeed. The same could be said about The Worst Witch. You remember when I did my own little show about that?
Yes, I remember it as though it were yesterday.
We're not going to be talking about a horror movie, but a movie that's associated with Halloween nonetheless. We're going to be talking about The Worst Witch. It's a 1986 British made-for-television movie that's based on the 1974 children's book by Jill Murphy. Now, if you've ever watched this, or read the book, or understand the concept at all, then you realize that J.K. Rowling pretty much ripped off the idea. Oh well, I suppose that's just tit for tat. Anyways, this movie pretty much immediately became a cult classic. Now, whether or not this movie has held up over time is simply subjective, but it's certainly not nearly as bad as its critics would have you believe. And to those critics, I would ask, what on earth were you expecting? Stop being so pretentious, because you liked it too, and you know it. It is a very pleasant Halloween movie, and fun for the whole family, as they say. It is a bit of a musical, and there are songs in it which are a little bit hard to take, but you could do a lot worse. In fact, you could say that for the whole movie. It is corny and cheesy and, well, a bit tacky at times, and the production level is not all that great, but again, You could do a lot worse. This film famously stars Tim Curry, and it's one of the roles that cemented him as a film cult icon. And speaking of film cult icons, this movie also stars Fairuza Balk. And at this point in time, the only other movie that we've seen her in was Return to Oz, so it certainly was good to see her again. But this movie's real fame came when it was released on VHS, which was in 1993 by Prism Entertainment. It would be released again on VHS in 1999 by BFS Video, whoever the hell that is. Nowadays, these VHS aren't exactly common, but not that rare either, though the prices can get a wee bit outrageous. $50? Holy guacamole! I do enjoy this movie, but not that much.
Good times. Hey, wait. Are we doing a flashback episode right now? Well, the industry term for it is clip show. They don't call them flashback episodes anymore.
Oh, well, you can call it whatever you want. I still call it lazy writing.
Yeah. Well, hey, this isn't the first flashback episode that we've done.
Clip show episode
that we've done. Remember the back to school episode?
Oh, yes. I remember it as though it were yesterday.
I says to him, that's the last time I'll go to this church service.
Yeah, I don't blame you. That sounds pretty bad. That reminds me of the time the woman fell in love with the priest.
Fell in love with the priest? How do you mean?
Well, she was crazy about him.
What happened?
She chased him all around the church and grabbed him by the organ.
Oh, I hate you so much.
Greetings! Hey, little creep, welcome back. Ahoy there, mates. Little creep just got back from summer vacation. He was taking a tour of Europe. So tell me, little creep, how was it?
Oh, it was fantastic. Nothing short of magical. I saw the Leaning Tower of Pisa. I went to Stonehenge. I went to Venice. Oh, I saw all the things.
Wow.
It was so much fun. Italy was my favorite part. While I was there, I stopped by to see this famous cemetery. I couldn't wait to see it.
A famous cemetery?
Oh, yes. Very famous. Very popular, too.
Why was it so popular?
Well, I'm not sure, but people are just dying to get in.
Oh, somebody kill me again, please.
Well, little creep, I'm glad you had fun on your summer vacation. But summer's over now, and that means one thing.
That weird heat rash you have will finally go away?
Well, I hope so. But I was thinking about, it's back to school time.
Oh, man, I don't know why, but I hate hearing that.
Yeah, me too. Even as an adult, I hate saying that.
Back to school. You know, that reminds me of the time when I was an Interpol secret agent and I was hot on the trail of this international jewel thief, and we thought he was disguised as a school guidance counselor, so I went back to school undercover, went to prom, and ended up winning prom queen. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember it as though it were yesterday. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. So anyways, I says to the guy, hey, what do you think this is? Dolly Parton's Smoky Mountain Christmas?
Bloody hell, you sure told that guy.
Sure did.
Greetings, everyone.
Hey, little creep. Did you have fun at prom?
Oh, yes. It was a magical evening. Sally Fisher's dress was blah. I couldn't believe she wore such rags. Oh, what a nice night. Great punch, too. I think somebody spiked it a little bit, if you catch my meaning.
Oh, well, did you, catch the jewel thief?
Oh, yeah, that. Well, it turns out he wasn't a jewel thief. He was really a guidance counselor. But hey, I won prom queen.
You did? Well, I can see that. You look very pretty.
Well, I feel pretty, too.
Blimey, if you won, I'd hate to see the runners-up.
Well, if I'm going to take this kind of abuse, I might as well go back to school. Well, I never.
Don't be upset, little creep.
You know, back to school.
That reminds me of the time you got that letter stating your GED was invalid and you had to go back to high school to graduate. You remember that?
Oh, yes. I remember it as though it were yesterday.
So I says to the guy, this place is so dirty, you gotta wipe your feet on the way out.
Sick burn.
Oh dear, oh me, oh my, this is just awful. What am I going to do now?
Geez, little creep, what's wrong?
Oh, woe is me. I got this letter stating that my GED is invalid and I gotta go back to high school to graduate. Do you believe it?
Well, that sounds highly improbable and very unrealistic, but really?
Yes, really. What am I going to do? I can't go back to school.
Well, you can borrow my trapper keeper if you like.
Yeah. and you can borrow my Dino Rider's lunchbox.
Oh, well, that's very nice of you guys. That should help, I guess.
Greetings, everyone. Hey, Captain Adam, guess what?
Oh, dear.
Oh, man.
What?
Well, I think we had too many flashbacks and screwed up the time-space continuum.
Huh. Well, what do we do now?
Yeah, what do we do now? Well, I guess we have to start over.
Well, how do you like that? Huh.
Isn't anyone going to compliment my dress?
Oh, yeah, it looks
Very nice,
Very
very
nice.
dashing, I will
Very
say.
nice,
Very handsome,
nice.
very nice, very nice.
That's just plain silly. Hey, how did we ever get the time-space continuum back to normal, you know?
I can't remember. I guess if we're not careful, the same thing will happen today.
Yeah, we should watch out for that, I guess. Huh. Say, where is Paul the Skull anyway?
He's taking a sabbatical to focus on his pottery.
Oh, neato. Well, anyways, I'm really excited we're doing a Halloween special again this year.
Me too. Halloween specials are a grand tradition in show business. Most certainly television. Remember when I talked about some television Halloween specials?
Oh, yes. I remember it as though it were yesterday.
On it. And there's lots of traditions that go along with it. Carving pumpkins, going trick-or-treating, and the television Halloween specials. Halloween television specials don't really exist anymore, but back in the good old days, they were everywhere. Everything and everyone seemed to have a Halloween television special. Even Paul Lynde with the Paul Lynde Halloween Special, which first aired in 1976 on ABC. And this had a number of guest stars, including Kiss. And it also featured Witchy Poo and the Wicked Witch of the West. And yes, that is Margaret Hamilton. This is tremendous. I mean, you're never going to see Kiss and the Wicked Witch of the West on the same screen together. This was a campy, kooky, mid-70s television riot. It was a pretty good time, but unfortunately, it was never released on VHS. It was released on DVD, but DVDs. And then there was the Wonderful World of Disney's Halloween Hall of Fame special, which aired in 1977. It was hosted by Jonathan Winters and featured him as a pumpkinhead with some very convincing makeup effects, and this is pretty terrifying, but it was great. Watching this as a kid really puts you in the Halloween spirit. And this featured a number of Disney Halloween-themed shorts, including the famous Legend of Sleepy Hollow. And this animated short is what really brought the Washington Irving story into the mainstream. This was a big deal. I remember watching this in school as a kid. Of course, that was before the commies took over and you could still have fun in school. Disney had a number of other Halloween specials, but the Halloween Hall of Fame is certainly the most famous. Now, this was never released on VHS, but yes, it was released on DVD, so at least it's not lost to time. Some of the animated shorts that were featured in this Halloween special were released on VHS, including The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, which was released in 1982 as part of the Walt Disney Home Video Collection in the white clamshell. And you can find this today, but it's going to cost you around 30 buckaroonies. It was also released a few other times through the 90s, and you can find these rather easy today for around 10 bucks. And did you know that there was a Legend of Sleepy Hollow made-for-TV movie in 1980 that starred Jeff Goldblum? I didn't know that. Nobody talks about this one, but there might be a good reason for that. This was released on VHS in 1985 and is pretty easy to find and cheap. As I had mentioned earlier, there were a shitload of Halloween specials and everything seemed to have one. But there were only a select few that they aired annually that you just did not want to miss. One of them being Garfield's Halloween Adventure, which first aired in 1985 on CBS, which continued to air all through the rest of the 80s. But now it seems to be kind of forgotten about. This was great, and I loved watching this as a kid. Wait, is that a Halloween 3 reference? Huh, I loved this Halloween special, and Garfield could do no wrong in my eyes. This was released on VHS, however, this is really hard to find nowadays. Why is that? Well, I really don't know. But I can tell you that the Garfield Christmas Special VHS goes for an outrageous price. 70 bucks. Holy shit. Even the Garfield Thanksgiving Special goes for pretty mid-tier prices. Why is that? I don't know. I guess everybody just loves Garfield. Now, that's just what people are trying to sell them for. It doesn't really mean much, and they can try all they want. And I was able to find a copy of the Christmas special for around $10. But we're not talking about that right now. We're talking about Halloween. All right. Jeez, how dramatic can you get? Anyways, the most famous Halloween special would have to be It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, which originally aired in 1966 and has been a Halloween staple ever since. Yeah, this still gets played on television nowadays, and it was released on VHS multiple times. And all these distributions are relatively easy to find today and pretty cheap. And this was paired up with the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving special and sold as a box set. So Halloween specials are just one of the many Halloween traditions.
Oh, that Paul Lynde special sure was something else. Huh?
Yeah, it was pretty kooky, but all in all, it wasn't very good.
Yeah, it didn't really have too much to do with Halloween, did it?
That's true. But in all fairness, there are lots of things that are associated with Halloween that have nothing to do with it.
Oh, really? Like what?
Well, like horror movies, for example. Most horror movies have nothing at all to do with Halloween, yet lots of people associate them with Halloween and watch them around Halloween.
Yeah, lots of people watch Friday the 13th, but that always reminds me of summer camp, not Halloween.
Yeah, that's true. Movie monsters, even though most of them have nothing to do with Halloween, have sort of become mascots for Halloween. Now, there are a few examples. Michael Myers from the Halloween film series, Angela from Night of the Demons, and others. But for the most part, movie monsters have nothing at all to do with Halloween.
Like Dracula and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde?
Yeah, that's true.
Do you remember last year's Halloween special when you talked about the Hammer Films Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde movies?
I sure do.
Huh? Where's the flashback?
I don't know.
Maybe you gotta say the thing.
Oh, I remember it as though it were yesterday.
Hammer Films had a habit of making their own versions of monster movies that Universal Pictures had already done. But sometimes Hammer took a monster trope and said, hey, we're gonna do something you guys haven't. And I'm talking about Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, which is a rather famous, albeit not as popular monster trope that is based on the 1886 novella by Robert Louis Stevenson, The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Now, Universal Pictures didn't do a version of this, but there was already plenty of film adaptations. Yeah, Paramount Pictures did one in 1920 and another one in 1931, and MGM would do one in 1941. And in 1960, Hammer Films would unleash their version onto the world with The Two Faces of Dr. Jekyll. And curiously enough, this was released in the US as Jekyll's Inferno, which sounds like a roller coaster at Kennywood. And it was also released as House of Fright for, absolutely no reason. Call it what you want. It's a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde movie. And this would not be the only time that Hammer Films used the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde concept, because in 1971, we got Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde, which is essentially the same story, but instead of a monster, the serum turns Dr. Jekyll into an evil woman. Boy, I did not see that one coming. And given the title, I was sort of hoping the serum turned him into a nun. Man, I wish that was the case. But it's not. Instead, it's just like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, except it's sort of like Mrs. Doubtfire in a way that's not like Mrs. Doubtfire at all. But anyways, Dr. Jekyll and Mrs. Doubtfire, I'm sorry, Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde was released on VHS in 1994 by Republic Pictures Home Video. And The Two Faces of Dr. Jekyll was released on VHS in 1995 by Columbia TriStar Home Video.
Hey, wait, I thought Universal did do a Dr. Jekyll flick.
Yeah, they did, with Abbott and Costello meet Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Whoopsies, forgot that one, did ya?
Yeah, I can't believe I forgot to mention that, especially considering how much I talk about the Abbott and Costello Meet the Monster movies.
Oh well, it's a casual mistake. That's a great episode all the same.
And they also mispronounced Quatermass in that episode as well.
Well, they can't all be winners, Captain.
That's true. But speaking of winning, that is an excellent Dracula costume, little creep.
Oh, thank you. You know, I just threw it on. I didn't even have a chance to look at myself in the mirror. Of all the things.
Oh, well, I have a mirror right here.
Oh, goody, let me see. Oh my. Holy guacamole. I don't have a reflection. I can't see anything. What's going on here?
Well,
oh my.
Yeah, you're Dracula. You're not going to see yourself in the mirror.
Of all the things. Well, I knew this was a convincing costume, but I didn't think it was that convincing. I wouldn't worry about it. It's no reflection on you. Oh my. Boy, they really didn't like that one. Oh, well, you know, it wouldn't be the first time you said something many people didn't like. Remember when you said Ernest Scared Stupid sucked? Yeah, I remember it as though it were yesterday.
I have recently changed my mind about that film, and now I need to get serious here. What I'm about to tell you might upset you. It might shock you. It might anger you. But it has to be said. Ernest Scared Stupid is a terrible movie. Now hang on, folks. Calm down, everybody. Calm down. Let me explain. I know. People shouldn't say that, but it needs to be said. It's true. It's absolutely true. This movie is terrible. It's terrible. Okay, we're back. And I'm saying this as a complete and total Ernest fan, but Ernest Scared Stupid really sucks. Now, it's not as bad as the direct-to-video Ernest movies, but I'm telling you, it's pretty damn close. And when you compare Ernest Scared Stupid to the other real Ernest movies, I mean, it's not even a competition. Ernest Goes to Jail has to be the best one. And it's not that I'm expecting Dr. Zhivago when I watch an Ernest movie, but with Ernest Scared Stupid, they went full throttle with the kids' movie shit. The other Ernest movies are nowhere near as cheesy as this one is, and plus the other Ernest movies sort of seem like they were made for grown-ups, but kids could watch them too. But it seems like they made Ernest Scared Stupid strictly for kids. So if you're someone who says that Ernest Scared Stupid is your favorite Ernest movie, I encourage you to watch it again and see how you feel about that. But in its defense, it is a family-friendly scary movie, and plus it takes place on Halloween. So really, it's the perfect family-friendly scary movie to watch on Halloween. So there.
Oh my! Well, that certainly was an unpopular opinion, but that wouldn't be the first time we were in a pickle. Remember meeting Baylock at your 4th of July party? Can't say that I do. Sure, it was your alien invasion movie episode. Oh. Yeah, I remember it as though it were yesterday.
Okay, mates, let's go on an alien invasion adventure and take a look at the movie that did indeed make the concept synonymous with the 4th of July. And the movie whose VHS slowly became the world's most commonly found thrift store find. Let's take a look.
Attention, crew of the VHS Pirate Ship. Your vessel is now mine.
Friend of yours?
Me? I thought you knew him. Silence. I am Baylock, commander of the Posterius. Wow, it's an alien. Yes, I am what you would call an alien. I have captured your vessel. Escape is impossible. Wow, this is a pretty severe situation.
Yeah, seems pretty serious.
Silence! Your Earth wit will not save you. Escape is impossible, as I had said before.
What do you want?
Your presence is demanded upon my ship. If you do not comply, your vessel and your crew will be destroyed.
Oh man, I can't. I just got the grill all fired up and the coals are just right.
And what about the potato salad?
And little creep wants potato salad?
Silence! You will comply or be destroyed.
All right. I'll make first contact with alien life and save the crew of my ship. Big deal. Are you happy?
Yeah, what a total drama queen.
Yeah.
Prepare to beam aboard. How do we prepare for that?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how not to.
Finally. Ah.
Whoa. Wow, this must be the Posterius.
Sure. Looks like a spaceship to me.
Hey, look.
It's a picture of Baylock.
And a camcorder?
I guess they have a low budget too.
Yeah. Man, this is weird stuff. You know, I think we've been had.
Yeah, this is starting to seem like an episode of The Funky Phantom.
What an obscure reference. I'm Baylock. Welcome aboard. Hello, friends. Welcome to my ship. Be comfortable.
You're Baylock?
I know. 1,000 questions. But first, some refreshments. I'm all out of Tranya, but how about some Diet Lemon Lime Soda? I hope you relish it as much as I. No thank you. You'll have to forgive us if we're kind of freaked out.
Yeah, we thought you were a terrifying alien warlord.
Yeah. Forgive my ruse. I used that to frighten you and get your attention. If it were me as I am, would you have listened? Probably not. I mean, you look like a toe. What?
You just have no couth at all, do you?
What? I mean, come on. Some people like toes. Oh, Captain, you and your tiny skeleton friend are most amusing, and that is precisely why I invited you upon my ship. On my planet, your show is very popular, and I simply had to meet you. Gosh. Well, it's always nice to meet a fan.
You know, I have a lot of questions here.
You mean like how this is supposed to be an episode about Independence Day, and yet we're doing a pretty obvious Star Trek reference?
Yes, among others.
I would be honored if you were to watch your new adventure with me here on my ship. Well, I don't see why not. Do you, little creep?
Can I have potato salad?
Sure. Well, mates, looks like we're hanging out at Baylock's. Enjoy today's adventure. Happy July 4th.
You know, that turned out to be a pretty good time. I wonder what Baylock is up to nowadays. I still keep in touch with him. We're intergalactic pen pals. You know, that whole thing was very unexpected, much like having a kid's cartoon based on the Toxic Avenger. Remember when you talked about that? Yes, I remember it as though it were yesterday.
Watching show is the perfect way to market anything to children, including movies. Now, as I've talked about before in previous videos, there is a slew of movies that got cartoons that probably should not have, as these certain movies are not for kids, like RoboCop, Rambo, and Toxic Avenger. I'm not sure what's harder to believe, the fact that they made a cartoon show based on Toxic Avenger, or that someone thought it was a good idea. And keep in mind that not just one person had to think this was a good idea, but multiple people had to have thought this was a good idea. Because, I mean, this would have had to gone through a production team, and not to mention the television censors, so this went through a lot of people before it made it to television. So you might be asking yourself, why is it so hard to believe there was a cartoon show based on the Toxic Avenger? Matter of fact, why is it so hard to believe that any of these movies were made into cartoon shows? Well, basically, for a movie to become a cartoon show, the movie itself has to be at least somewhat kid-friendly. More so than not. Or at least you would think so. And so let's say little Timmy watches the Toxic Avenger, or as the cartoon was called, the Toxic Crusaders. He likes it, he's a fan, he watches all the time, and eventually he's going to want to know where this cartoon comes from. And eventually, come hell or high water, he's going to watch the Toxic Avenger at an early age where he really should not be watching this movie. Now, it's true that when I first saw the Toxic Avenger, I was probably 10 years old. And this is because of the USA Network's Up All Night, which was a movie showcase that usually highlighted horror movies or B-movies, especially trauma films. This was hosted by Rhonda Shear, or sometimes Gilbert Gottfried. It premiered in 1989 and ran all the way to 1998 until it was canceled. It came on Saturday nights at a very late time slot. The movies they played were censored, but not that much. So the version of the Toxic Avenger that I watched was pretty much the full movie, with a few things cut out. And I'm quite certain that was only because of time restraints. There wasn't that much censored. And when I watched it, I sort of had the feeling that I should not be. And even as a kid, when I saw that they made a cartoon show about this movie, I thought it was a bit odd. The Toxic Crusaders premiered March 1st, 1991, and ran all the way until May of 1991. Yep, didn't last long. One season. 13 episodes. But that did not stop them from trying to push the hell out of this. Yeah, there were action figures, a video game, there was even a coloring book, and eventually they compiled all the episodes together and released Toxic Crusaders the movie in 1997. And then
I still can't believe they did that. I mean, a Toxic Avenger cartoon? That just shouldn't be. No, that really should not have been a thing. But I sure am glad it was. Hello, everyone. Oh, no! We did it again! I knew we should have been more careful with this. Boy, these clip show episodes can be dangerous. You're telling me I shaved my legs for this? Excuse me, everyone. Is there any potato salad left?